today I'll be sharing with you about some amazing heart healthy foods. So to start off, today we'll be covering on fats and cholesterol, sodium, sugar, fiber, as well as a heart healthy diet. We'll first start off with fats. So there are mainly three types of fats: saturated fats, unsaturated fats, as well as trans fats. For saturated fats, it can actually be found in both animal sources as well as plant sources. So intake of foods that's of high saturated fats can actually increase the bad cholesterol levels. And for unsaturated fats, there are two types as well, mainly the monounsaturated fats as well as the polyunsaturated fats. For polyunsaturated fats, it also includes the omega-3 fatty acids, which can actually be found in deep sea fishes such as your salmon, tuna, and mackerel. Moving on, we have got trans fats. So trans fats can actually be found in like your shortenings, some margarines, fast food, and fried foods. So high intake of foods that's of high trans fat content can actually increase your bad cholesterol levels as well as decrease your good cholesterol levels. For cholesterol, it is actually a fatty, waxy substance in the body that is a building material for cell membrane. And there are mainly two types of cholesterol: the high-density lipoprotein, which is our good cholesterol, as well as the low-density lipoprotein, which is the bad cholesterol. So 80% of the cholesterol is actually produced by our body's liver, and about only 20% is actually obtained from the food that we eat. And as for cholesterol, it can only be found in animal products, so there's none found in our fruits and vegetables. And for a low cholesterol diet, we actually want to limit the cholesterol intake to no more than 300 milligrams a day. So, what to choose instead to help to reduce the cholesterol levels? You should actually limit the saturated and trans fat intake. Choose unsaturated fats instead. Opt for lean meat and remove any visible fats or skin on the poultry or meats that you're having. You can also replace snacks that's high in saturated fats with nuts instead. Also, limit like the hard margarine, deep fried foods, pastries, cakes, and foods that's made of vegetable shortening, hydrogenated or partially hydrogenated oils. And as for egg yolks, for cholesterol, do not consume more than 3 egg yolks in a week. And when you're shopping, you can also look out for the healthier choice symbol to, opt for foods lower in saturated fat or that is even trans fat free. For sodium, it is actually a mineral that can help to transmit nerve impulses, contract and relax muscles, including those in the heart as well as the blood vessels. It can also help to maintain a proper fluid balance in our body as well. So usually a high sodium intake is actually associated with the increased risk of hypertension as well as cardiovascular disease. Where can sodium be found? Sodium can actually be found naturally in all foods, added to the processing of foods, as well as added to the foods during cooking and before eating. So how much sodium should we actually aim for? The recommended daily intake of sodium is to be less than 2,000 milligrams a day, which is actually equivalent to about a teaspoon of salt. And from the National Nutrition Survey that was conducted in 2022, it showed that the Singaporeans' intake of sodium has actually exceeded the recommended daily intake. So here are actually some high sodium foods, for example, like the canned food products, sausages and cured meat, salted eggs, salted snacks, and even instant noodles. So what should we choose instead? You can always choose to go for fresh produce whenever possible instead of using processed food. Also, limit the intake of processed, canned, salted meats, fish, as well as vegetables. You can also add in fresh herbs and spices to enhance the food's flavor and taste. Same thing, likewise, you can also look out for the healthier choice symbol when doing your grocery shopping. Here are some examples on how much sodium our local foods contain. So if we were to look at a bowl of fishball noodle soup, it actually contains about 3,800 milligrams of sodium. A bowl of miso soup, about 2,700 milligrams of sodium, or even like just a bowl of dry wonton mee, 1,450 milligrams of sodium. So when eating out, how do we actually reduce the sodium intake? These are actually some ways. You can actually leave the soup behind. Opt for bihun, kway teow, bee tai mak instead of yellow noodles, including meatball and mee kiam. Also, you can ask for no gravies or sauces. Dip instead of drenching your food with sauces or gravies. For sugar, sugar is actually a type of carbohydrate which is digested and absorbed quickly into our bloodstream. It can actually result in a spike in glucose levels within 15 minutes. So excessive intake of sugars can actually lead to overweight and obesity, as well as elevated triglycerides levels in the blood. So some examples of food that's high in sugar content are actually sweetened drinks, fruit juices, cakes, as well as candies. So how do we actually reduce the sugar intake in our diet? We can actually choose fresh whole fruits instead of opting for fruit juices. We can also avoid 3-in-1 beverages. When ordering drinks and desserts outside, you can always ask for no sugar or less sugar. You can also look out for the NutriGrade label now. Also, avoid and minimize the intake of sugar-containing beverages like flavored milk or even flavored yogurt drinks, your soft drinks, packet drinks, cordials, fruit juices, as well as sports and energy drinks. For fiber, there are mainly two types, so soluble and insoluble fiber. But overall, what is fiber? Fiber is actually a part of a plant food that the body cannot digest. So for soluble fiber, it actually dissolves in water to become viscous, and it promotes the excretion of fatty acids like your cholesterol. So fiber tends to appear to help bile acids, which are made up of cholesterol, to pass through the intestine as waste, resulting in lesser dietary cholesterol that is being absorbed by the body. And for insoluble fiber, it does not dissolve in water, but it can actually add bulk as well as softness to the stools, thus promoting bowel's regularity. So for fiber recommendation is about 30 grams of fiber a day. So what are some ways to actually increase fiber intake in our diet? You can also always replace your white rice with brown rice. If it's too much, you can always opt for half and half. Also, choose whole grain options of bread, cereals, and pasta. And for fiber, it's actually much better to consume the whole fruit instead of fruit juices. So how do we actually ensure adequate fiber intake in our diet? So one should always aim for at least 2 servings of fruits daily, 2 servings of vegetables daily, as well as 2 to 3 servings of whole grains daily. So what is a heart-healthy diet then? I'm sure you have seen this image before. So foods that are actually beneficial to heart health are mainly like your vegetables, your fruits, your whole grains, as well as, nuts and seeds and unsaturated fats like your olive oil, and also legumes and fish. So for the processed meat, as well as, unsaturated fats from like the animals, it should actually be limited. So in summary, if we were to tie all this in together, we can always use My Healthy Plate, which is actually useful for portion control as well as for aiming for a balanced meal. Always include 2 to 3 servings of whole grain daily. Opt for lean meat, poultry, fish, or even tofu. And for the omega-3, you can aim for at least 2 servings of oily fish a week. Aim for 2 servings of fruits and vegetables each daily. Remember not to juice them. And also choose healthier fats. For example, like olive oil, peanut oil, rice bran oil, and even corn oil. For sodium, remember to limit the sauces, gravies, and soups intake. For beverages, watch out for the sugar content. Always choose unsweetened beverages. So I've now come to the end of my presentation. Thank you.